Hi guys, welcome back to August Love Story, the channel. My name is Artieka.
No, I'm Tommy.
And today we are reviewing Married at First Sight, Season 13, Episode 16. That episode is titled Weighing the Decision. If you haven't already, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel, turn on the notification bell. And are you ready?
I am ready.
All right, so couple I wrote the least about this week was Mirla and Gil.
What? All right.
Yeah, it was literally 3 sentences. Mirla sits down with her friend. They go skating. Everything was going great. Then he complained about her lifestyle. I do have more to add to that.
Okay, go for it.
So, Gil talked to his mom on FaceTime, right?
Yeah.
And that's when we realize what his issues are with Mirla's lifestyle. Or her spending. I can't say her full lifestyle. He told his mom that Mirla was very traditional and her dad paid all the bills and she's going to want him to pay all the bills and he can afford the lifestyle, but he would be left with nothing.
Yeah.
And that is where his issues are.
Yeah.
I don't want to pretend like we're all knowing when it comes to their relationships because there's so much stuff that happens when the cameras are not rolling.
Right.
And I'm interested in hearing the conversation that Mirla and Gil had regarding who was going to pay for everything, what paying bills look like, and essentially how she envisions her relationship, because somebody's got to give. Actually, everybody has to give more.
Yeah.
Based on what their expectations are, unless their expectations are the same.
Yeah. I think there's a valid concern of Gil's. I didn't know saying that should have come first.
Right.
You know, that should have been I hope he's had that conversation with Mirla. It seems like he has. And I think that would, once they do have this is how it breaks down, you know, in-house and everything, I think that's what's going to relieve him. Because it is one thing to be like, okay, I'm going to take care of all the bills and I have nothing left. But it's another thing in the situation that they're in. They're still in that stage of dating, to be honest, you know, still in that stage of getting to know each other and stuff like that. So it's kind of like that being a concern of his, like, how do we split this up? Because both of us know you know, the expectation for us is that the man takes care of everything, but you make, what do you say, double the amount that she makes?
Yeah, I think that's what he said, was she makes double.
So how is he to all of a sudden afford her lifestyle when her lifestyle is completely different from his?
Mm-hmm. That's why I say there's going to have to be some type of give and take. I think that it's hard for us as the general viewing public to come up with a solution for them because we don't know what everybody's middle ground is.
Right.
And that just makes it difficult because we see relationships where the man out-earns the woman and he takes everything, like takes care of everything, I should say. And we've seen, I've seen relationships on the other side where the woman out-earns the man and she takes care of everything. Because I actually do know, like, one of my friends from college, her dad is a stay-at-home dad. She's in her 30s and she's never known her dad to have a job.
Yeah.
But then you have we're both putting all the money together situation. So I guess it just depends on how they view finances, how they, and how everything's going to work together. It's just...
It's crazy that finances were both their concern for each other on different spectrums. Like, his concern is she makes more, but how do we, you know, move forward in this, being that he's the man of the situation and it is expected to lead, basically, be the person that's dependent upon, and then it's basically my argument when it comes to finances. But with her, on the other hand, and which I have to commend Mirla about, well, from what we've seen, is she hasn't made it a big deal that she makes more.
Yeah.
Her biggest...
Now, he's always saying that she looks down on people, but we haven't necessarily seen that. We've just seen that she's like, I was poor. I'm not going back to being poor. That ain't got nothing to do with you and what you want to do.
Right.
I'm just not going to be poor.
Right. And I feel like both of them have valid arguments in the situation, but I just really have to give it up to her, because she's like, all right, this is what we have to work with. I know where I am. This is how do you get him to the point that, to match you or even better you, in the situation. And I, as a man, I can appreciate that from a woman, standpoint of, I'm not going to talk bad about you or down you because I make more. Right. I know why I make more.
Right.
And I think they brought it up while she was talking to her friend on the episode too. Like, the fact that he just started as a fireman and, money is not his motivation of doing things. She's like,
he's going back to being 25. And I'm like, I get exactly what you're saying. However, you have to look at the long term of it. Is he planning on staying in that position forever? Pay raises do come with it. Let's not act like it's not a regular job.
Right.
And then what are your expectations? Because if you expect to live a certain lifestyle and you don't want your husband to, I don't want to say take away from it, but you have certain things that you want to do. I think one of the things that you could do, and this is what we would expect a man to do, is just say, I'll pay for it. Mm-hmm. But it's a double standard with the woman doing those things, right?
Right.
But I think it just needs to be a conversation. We figure out how much we can afford to spend and live life accordingly, because that's the important part, is how much can you spend?
Right.
And let's not, as my mom says, be house poor.
Right.
Because you're trying to afford all of these things and you don't know what your bills look like.
Yeah. So that's really like all I have for them, honestly. I think Gil talked to
Zach.
He talked to Zach for a little minute, but
I guess Gil and Zach's friends weren't available. I think that Zach's friends knew he were going to say no, or his brothers, I should say, knew he was going to say no. So they were like, we're not doing this.
Yeah.
Who you want to go to next?
Michaela and Zach.
All right.
Because I don't have nothing written for them.
So Michaela's sister came by and they had a conversation. Basically, she broke down what happened after their meeting with Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
They went out to eat. They had a conversation. He asked her to spend the night with him at his house. She did spend the night.
Did they move out the apartment?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Like, she's at her house.
Yeah, I was like, I noticed it. Like, they was at her house talking.
Yeah, and I think when Zach and Gil talked, they were in Gil and Mirla's apartment.
Yeah.
Zach and Gil sat down and had a conversation about that last night of the retreat, and essentially, how things aren't going the way that they thought things were going to go in Zach's marriage. I'm just going to push that conversation along.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying I'm not going to talk about it, is what I mean.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
But what I will go to is everybody got together. All of the couples got together and they had a conversation about what would make them say yes on decision day and what would make them say no on decision day. And I am happy that Bao voiced her confusion for what Zach was saying. because Zach essentially has been saying, like he said at the retreat, that we can get a divorce in this process, but that doesn't mean that there's an end to us. And Bao is like me. If you say no to me on decision day,
yeah, it's pretty much saying no.
I don't know you anymore. Like, I'm not going to know you unless we're signing divorce papers. And then after that, good riddance, you will now just be referred to as my first husband.
That's what gives proof of when I was saying last week that he didn't want Michaela to be mad at him.
Zach,
yeah. Mm-hmm. It gives proof because it's like he's still in the idea of, if I say no, but I don't mean no, but we can still be friends type deal. Like, he wants to break up and still hang out and do everything the same just to, have the option there. And
my thing is that I don't want to be your option. I want to be your priority.
Like the way I look at it is, sometimes no, you just have to say no and walk away. Like, all of us have been in situations where you want better for the situation. Like, you want to, continue a friendship with a person, but you understand that the friendship, or okay, maybe not you, but me, you understand that the friendship is not beneficial to you in any sort of way.
Correct.
Like, being in this situation is very bad for yourself. So, you have to leave, and just saying no and walking away is okay. And for Zach, it's not. He's still in that. I guess it's like like when he was talking about his perfectionism. Mm-hmm. And I think you might have said it, that he looks at getting a divorce as a failure.
I don't remember if I said that or not. I say a lot of things.
Yeah. But I mean, like, in a perfectionist mind, if I don't get something done right, it's failure. Mm-hmm. But to suffice
if I divorce and I keep working at it, I haven't failed.
I haven't failed yet. So that's I can fix the issue,
I can see that logic while flawed. I can see someone saying that and really believing it in their mind. Yeah. And I'm never going to get on board with that. I feel like if we're going to continue to work on our relationship after decision day, then the answer should be yes.
That's what I feel
too. You
can
get divorced after that. And that's why I was like, I understood Michaela's like jumping out of her body experience when he said that. And people are like, oh, but she agreed to it. Okay, have you ever agreed to something and then it settled in and you like, they think I'm stupid?
Yeah, I wrote down, it was like, Zach is saying no is not, doesn't mean divorce. It just means.
But it does mean divorce.
It absolutely means, yes, I want to get a divorce.
Right.
And for Michaela, she was saying a no means rejection and humiliation for her.
Absolutely. I agree. And there has to be other things going on behind the scenes, because we can't believe that Zach is that crazy to just keep going back to this girl that has these outbursts and she's being crazy. And that's not the case.
No,
that is the case.
Yeah, like I think I think it's sex, because there's no reason for them to, outside of, he's saying everything else is good except those outbursts, and she's saying, well, he's never seen me do these outbursts. Like we understand that they were picked for some reason, but they not a good couple to.
They're
to
both a few tacos short of a platter.
Exactly. So it's like okay, you guys just cut ties and walk away. Mm-hmm. That I think that would be the best thing for both of them. But both of them are like, no, I really don't want to say no. But if you say no, it means divorce. So anyway.
Who you want to go to next? We got Brett and Ryan, Bao and Johnny, and then Rachel and Jose.
Let's do Brett and Ryan.
All right, so Ryan met up with his friend to play tennis, and his friend basically told him everything that we've been saying the whole season. You are not a good communicator. You right. are terrible at communication. Do better, because this is bad.
Right.
they explore the reasons why his past relationships have gone wrong and essentially have pinpointed that it's him. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, duh. Anything else you guys got? And I mean, that's not even being in his previous relationships, but he has said himself that he's always chasing like a high. Mm-hmm. And he realizes after they've broken up that he had it in his hand, but he didn't like continue to seek it. He was looking for something that he couldn't find. They also talk about him and the I'm gonna just say it's Tinder. I don't know what app he's on.
Yeah.
But him and being on
dating app.
Yeah, him being on this dating app, and they're like, why couldn't you just wait? And I'm like, that's what everybody's trying to figure out. Yeah. Like, why couldn't you just wait? And a lot of y'all laughed at Tommy's cigarette reference
analogy.
But
we laughed at it too when we went back and thought about what was said.
But it was perfect because it literally is fitting exactly how he was.
Way to go, Tommy.
Way to go, Tommy. It was actually like perfect because it fit literally like, I can't wait.
Right.
I can't wait.
Right.
So, let's see.
Brett talked to her sister.
Oh, yeah. Brett was back at the apartment. Ryan had moved out. She talked to her sister on the phone. And then Ryan came by the apartment to apologize. I was like,
Did he?
She was telling her sister that he had come back.
Oh, she was telling him what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, there's really nothing that he can do besides say, I messed up. It's my fault.
Yeah, because it's like, at the end of the day, you could be like, he was like, I didn't activate it. Somehow, you got matched with somebody, so I don't know how that works. Never used a dating app.
I haven't either, and I'm going to assume that you can't match with someone without an active subscription.
Right, you have to actually do something. It's my assumption. In a dating app.
You need an active subscription just trying to make sense of the whole thing. You have to have an active subscription because why would Artieka match with Tommy and Tommy doesn't have a subscription?
Right.
How would she then connect with him?
Or an active account.
Yeah, that's what I mean by active subscription.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know how that works. But
I call BS.
But not just like you downloaded it. That was what she was telling her sister. He was like, you downloaded it for a reason. Like, bro, like you had 2 weeks, maybe 3.
It was literally 2.
10 days, man. Right. Couldn't make it. So
you could literally have walked out of decision day and did it like in the parking lot.
Right. Right there. So
I don't get it. All right. So Bao and Johnny versus Rachel and Jose.
Let's go with Rachel and Jose. We can leave Bao and Johnny for last.
I didn't really write a lot about either one of them, so there's that. No, I was falling asleep during this episode, and then you fell asleep at the end of the episode. So Rachel met up with her friend, and they talked about Jose not listening and the note cards. Her friend made a very, very, very valid point. You do not need a note card to tell you don't lock your wife out.
You do not need a note card to tell you not to lock your wife out. That's an unforgivable like action for me. Like, there's certain things that you can let slide and everything like this. But this man said, I'm securing my home, a place he doesn't own.
I'm securing my property.
My property, the place that he doesn't own. Mm-hmm. And this girl is about to move into a place that he owns. We all know that marriages aren't always we're happy and we're in love. It's been plenty of times we have recorded and me and Artieka had just finished arguing with each other. Mm-hmm. So what happens when they get into an argument? I mean, like, people have heated arguments. Adults can argue with each other and disagree with each other and still be like, you want something to eat.
That's usually your go-to. But like, as mad as I've been at a person, I have never locked anyone out.
The last thing I would do, especially somebody that I, love and care for, somebody that I live with. or lives with me, I would never lock them out.
You thought about it, but you never do it.
Right. You laugh at when they get locked out on their own. And you have to be, man. I wasn't even gonna bring up you, but I about died laughing on my way home to let you back in.
That was
hilarious.
A sad day for me. I got locked out with the baby, y'all.
Anyway, go ahead.
So Jose met up with his friend. They talk about the full circle of his relationship, and he said he still has some questions. And I said, I wonder if Jose's gotten through all 200 questions. Wasn't like 250
it was
plus
like
questions
it was crazy
that he had for Rachel, because I feel like Rachel should have had questions for him. More so the questions being things like, are you going to lock your wife out?
She didn't know that was going to happen.
Exactly. It says that Jose and Rachel had lunch and they discussed the issues in their relationship. And then they got onto the conversation of traveling. She's like, hey, look, I want to travel. I want to see the world. And I would like to do these things with my husband. Mm-hmm. I was like, that's fair. He's like, money. And all I could think was, this man works for NASA, right?
I think so.
He says he doesn't have any debt. So he owns his home. He owns his vehicles. What exactly is it that he can't spend money every other year?
Well, it's two things, man. You gotta realize he even said his life is pretty boring outside of him getting married at first sight. Mm-hmm. So if let's just go based off of that one thing, we obviously know he's not going on trips and stuff like that. But it's a sense of like when you talk to somebody that's really into finances, mm-hmm. they really, are all about, hey, saving and, budgeting and stuff like that. And for him, trips just sound like an expense that is unnecessary. He was like, we can go. Did he say we can go to Texas?
Yeah, he said he told her, I don't know if it was this episode, but I know once before he told her they could take a road trip around Texas. And I was like,
that doesn't sound fun, but it's...
I'm not even saying it doesn't sound fun, but Texas is the most boring. Well, I ain't gonna say the most boring, but one of the most boring states I've ever driven through.
But I'm just saying, it's like, if you take a road trip in Texas or you fly out of the country. Mm-hmm. Both to him, taking a road trip to Texas is a more feasible, affordable thing. Mm-hmm. That instead of I'm finna go to Paris with my wife.
I think
they just got together. That's another thing too. They just got together, you know what I'm saying? And so he's like trying to really figure out, in his mind is going like 10 miles an hour, just trying to figure out how is she with money? Because she's already told me that she's bad with it. And she only talks about spending money. She doesn't talk about saving.
I get it. However, that's something that you have a conversation about, and everybody's answer can't be no. Because I felt like she was more like compromising about the situation, because she's like, hey, we don't have to go somewhere every year, but let's shoot for every other year. Yeah. But like, I want to go, like, she's like, a dream trip of mine is to go to Switzerland. I would like to do that with my husband. And I'm like, that's fair. Nobody said you have to pay for this whole trip like 10 days before you take it.
Well, I just think, yeah, you should plan vacations. You should plan to go places and stuff like that. But for them, it's more, you can't just say, I want to go. Look, I'm pretty sure that they had this conversation, or I'm not pretty sure. I don't know if they had it or not.
You would hope.
But you would hope that they have this conversation of, this is where I want to go, and this is how much it costs, and this is how we can afford it.
And I don't know that they've had that conversation. And I go back to like things that have happened with us in the past where I've suggested going somewhere and you're like, we can't afford that. And I'm like, We don't know the numbers.
Right. And that's the thing. It's like, I'm always like, present the number. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to do X, Y, and Z. How much does that cost?
And I think she's presenting the idea.
She's presenting the idea. And of course.
You have to get someone that you don't know on board with the idea before you can present numbers, because it's kind of hard to be like, we need to take this trip that costs $6,000. And I'm not saying Switzerland's going to cost that much, but we got to take this trip that costs $6,000. And he's like, no, we can go to California for half the price. And she's like, but I've been. I don't want to go there.
Right. You know, so it's a sense of, I think time needs to go past a little bit before they take like huge trips like that. Mm-hmm. Just because I think, man, you had this conversation before. You need to see how people act and how they are like on a trip, you know?
Well, they've been on a trip together. They went on their honeymoon.
Right, but I'm just saying that was with cameras and stuff, like, you know, so, nah.
Anywho, last thing I wrote was he blamed social media for her wanting to travel and live a YOLO lifestyle. And I was like, that was definitely happening before social media happened. People just had to take the pictures and take them to Walgreens to get them developed. Like.
And they ain't have nowhere to post them. But I mean, like, social media has influence more travel, influence people sharing their travel and stuff like that, which me personally, I think is a good thing that people share their trips and stuff, because I look at a lot of people that's traveling somewhere and be like, man, I want to go see that. Mm-hmm. You know?
Like, there were certain things that I would not have thought for us to do in the Bahamas had I not seen that someone else had done it. So it's just like, oh, this exists. I'm going here. I can go do this. Or I didn't have an idea for somewhere to go. This is a great place that we can go. It's beautiful here.
Now, we'll say once Jose realized that he, like, how fun traveling is and, you know, traveling with somebody, because that could be a thing too. You know, he was single and, you know, he was saying that his life was boring as a single man. Him not having somebody to actually do the traveling with, you know, could be a thing. And then, you know, he's just, I live in a shell, and that's, you know, I'm inviting you into my shell.
And she's like, no shell. Right. Turn up.
Right. So it's like I feel like once they actually start planning vacations and stuff like that, which second thing to that is I don't think they should be together, all because of how he reacted to her that one time. But anyway, I digress.
Somebody did mention that he did better in our comment section. They mentioned that he did better with reaction when she told him that she stayed with her ex. I was like, he
ain't had no choice.
He kind of doesn't have a choice, because he directly put her in the situation of having to contact someone else, regardless of if it's her ex or not. He directly put her in that situation.
Right. So you have to live with the choice that you made. And that be it, you know, so.
Don't lock people out.
Nope.
All right. Last but not least, Bao and Johnny. Bao sat down with her friend and they discussed the betrayal from Sarah. Bao gonna fight Sarah.
Yeah.
If Bao hasn't already fought Sarah, it's going to happen.
They're going to bring Sarah back to the reunion.
Oh, like they did.
Like they did Pastor Dwight.
Yeah, and Eric's mama.
Yeah.
Johnny met up with a friend and he claims that the conversation with Sarah is steering him a different way. And I put as if he was in a butthole to Bao prior to that conversation. If people can steer you this many different directions from the person who you have been living with, and I have to say on and off because you keep running away, then you're too easily influenced by outside forces. Like, it should definitely be I don't like Bao because, and that's why I don't want to be with her. Or I do like Bao because the side of her that I have seen is nothing like the side of her that you are talking about.
Right.
So when you look at it from that standpoint, like, you're letting other people sway you way too much, and that is too much of a flip-flop for me. Bao talked to everyone during the meetup. It was mostly about the situation with Zach and Michaela, saying that, you know, a no is a no for me. We don't have anything to work on if you say no to me. But if you say yes, we can work through these issues. I just knew that Bao was going to say no. And I mean, I'm still not holding my breath that she's not going to say no.
Mm-hmm.
But she did put up the argument that I think needed to be put on the table of yes can still mean not now.
Yeah.
But no absolutely means nah.
No. Like, if you want to try after, you know, decision day, you better say yes.
Mm-hmm. If that's what you want us to evolve into. They did have dinner, their final dinner out, and Bao had on a very sparkly dress, and Johnny was like, "You look amazing," and I'm like, Johnny, she punch you between the eyes.
Right. Like, it's like, it has gotten to the point for me when it comes to Johnny. It's like, bro, like, just let it go. Because throughout this whole episode, before I fell asleep, he was like, oh, I see potential in her. Maybe I need, like, especially when he was talking to his friends, because his friends was like, man, something's wrong with you.
Mm-hmm.
For lack of better words. But when he was talking to his friends, he was like, yeah, well, maybe I, you know, in the little confessional, maybe I do need to think about, or I got some things to think about. Like, bro, you don't got nothing to think about, man. You're trash, and this situation didn't work because you didn't want it to work.
Mm-hmm.
Bao did one or two things. Like, it's like, bro, look at it, man. Like, when you find your wife, or, you know, or girlfriend, you like a girl, you know, you think she's pretty, you think she's this, you think she's that, and then you find out she burps. Like, the simplest thing, like, we all burp, right?
Mm-hmm.
You find out she burps and can't help herself with it, you know, or something like that, and it turns you off. You have to then make a decision. Is that enough for you to leave?
Right.
Johnny has consistently said, Bao is this, Bao is that, Bao is this, Bao is that. You've said enough for you to leave. Mm-hmm. Like, at this point, Bao's going to say no on decision day. And Johnny is probably going to say no on decision day.
They both need to say no.
Yeah. So that's all I got, man, because I think I fell asleep at that
You
dinner
sure
part.
Did. I have nothing else. Do you have anything to end this whole ordeal?
So decision day is the next episode, I think, right?
Let's hope so.
I think it's the next episode. So we basically gonna preview it and give our final, because this is like the third one we gave. And mine has changed completely.
I have to go back and see what they were, and I'll like make some type of something.
Yeah. But I think we 1 for 5 this year.
Who is your one?
Mirla and Gil. I think the finance situation is going to be a conversation that needs to happen, that, you know, once they figure it out, they'll be okay. Mm-hmm. But I think essentially and foundation wise, I think they're the best for a couple,
mm-hmm.
you know, to make it out.
Yeah, because we think, or I'm not trying to put words in your mouth.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Bao and Johnny needs to be a no.
Yeah.
Michaela and Zach.
That hell no.
Should be a no. Brett and Ryan
so no.
are absolutely a no. Yeah. Like, there is no thought.
He already told us that it was a no.
Right. And so Rachel and Jose and then Mirla and Gil are pretty much all we have. I forgot about them. Yeah, to go Rachel on. So that's still the possible 2 out of 5.
Yeah.
Again,
I think Rachel's gonna say no.
I don't know.
I think Jose's gonna say yes.
We shall see.
We'll see though.
All right, so give us you guys' final predictions for this season. And again, if you haven't already, please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, comment down below, let us know what you guys think, and share this video to someone you know that watches Married at First Sight. You good?
I'm good.
All right, y'all. Bye.
Peace.